Algebra 2, D6, find the slope of a linear function. Unfortunately, unlike D5, there is quite a bit of information in D6, so please bear with me. Okay? Find the slope. That should be a familiar word. It might be a word that causes you anxiety, but you should have heard it already before in Algebra 1. And whenever you hear the word slope, you might think of y equals, that's right, mx plus b. There are 4 letters here. Only one of them represents slope. And the one that represents slope is the letter with the x. Most of the time you're going to have an x, most of the time you're going to have a y. The m and the b are what's going to change. Those are going to have, that's going to be a number, that's going to be a number. You may not see the number, but it's going to be there. It's going to be implied one way or the other. Okay, so m is the number that's in front of the x. Slope is the number in front of the x if it's in y equals mx plus b form. That means if y is already by itself, then you can tell me what the slope is. Okay, so find the slope of the line y equals 9 over 2x plus 1 over 3. It's asking for slope. If it's asking for slope, it's asking for m. If it's asking for m, it's asking for what's in front of the x. What is in front of the x? 9 over 2 is in front of the x. Simplify your answer and write it as a proper fraction, improper fraction, or integer. That just means it can be a fraction as long as it's reduced. It doesn't matter that 9 is bigger than 2. That is fine. In Algebra 2, we love improper fractions as long as they are reduced. 9 over 2 is reduced, so 9 over 2 is your answer. Now, here, so here's your box right here, and you can just type it in exactly like that, 9/2. Some lessons will give you some blue boxes down here. There may be a box over a box, and you can hit that, and it would be 9 over 2. But whenever they're just simple answers like this is going to be the easiest way instead of hitting a box and then 9 and then saying it to go down and hit 2 and stuff like that. So just 9 over 2. Find the slope of the line. Y equals -7 over 4x plus 1 over 4. Slope is looking for m. The y is already by itself. If the y is by itself, then whatever is in front of the x is the slope. So your slope is -7 over 4. You must put the slope, or you must put the negative, okay? All right, now, they don't give me an equation, they give me 2 points. They give me 2 points. Slope is m. M is rise over run. What rises? The y's rise. What runs? The x's runs. Okay? So it's how much you go up and down over how much you go over left and right. To be able to figure out how much, you always subtract. Y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. Okay? That's what we're going to do if we have a point. You are going to use that information. If it's giving you an equation, then you're just going to look for that information. Okay? So your m, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. This is your x. This is your y. For your information, they could have written 7-3 first and then 3-4 second. It doesn't matter which point you say is first and which point you say is second, but if you say that this is your first x, then that is your first y. If that's your first point, then that's your second x and that's your second y. Okay? It could have been vice versa though. Y2, 3, always subtract y1, x2, 7, always subtract x1. Then you just do the math. 3 minus 4 is negative 1. 7 minus 3 is 4. Is this reduced? Yes, it is. Is there just one negative sign? Yes, there is, which means we are finished. Same thing. I'm just not going to write all of that out. M y2 minus y1 over, oh my goodness, x2 minus x1, 2 minus 3 over 6 minus 10. 2 minus 3 is negative 1. 6 minus 10 is negative 4. Now look, pay attention. If you have two negatives and you put that in your answer in Excel, I hope it counts it wrong. It should count it wrong because it's not simplified, okay? If you have a negative over a negative, well, if a negative times a negative is a positive, then a negative divided by a negative is a positive, which means this isn't simplified because it's not finished. So if you have two negatives, make it the whole thing a positive. So your answer is just positive 1/4. Okay, so we've said if you get given an equation and y is already by itself, then the slope is the number that's in front of the x. If you're given 2 points and you want to know what the slope is, it's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. If you are given a graph, then you're going to do rise over run. Find 2 points, any 2 points. Now what I'm saying is, and I know that this is hard to see and read. Hopefully your paper is a whole lot better than mine. See this point right here? I know I'm going to go over 3, but I don't know how much to go up because it's between 2 and 3. We're never going to estimate. We're never going to guess that that's 2.7 or whatever like that. So we got to find some good points that we know crosses the grids. I see this right here crossing a grid, which means I know I'm going to go over 1 and I know I have to go up 2 to get there. Now I got to find one more point. Well, there's a good point right there, right? So if I find 2 good grid points and I make an imaginary triangle, then I know how much I'm going to go up because that's my vertical, and I know how much I'm going to go over or run because that's my horizontal. Okay, so rise over run is 1 over 3. Well, guess what? Let's say we didn't see that middle point. Let's say we saw this point and then we saw this point, and I make an imaginary triangle. Well, now I'm rising 2 and I'm running 6. Well, that's okay because rise over run, 2 over 6 is 2 over 6. If we reduce that down, it's going to be 1/3. So even if you don't use the points that I would have used, as long as you reduce, we should get the same answer. Okay, what is the slope? We're still going to do rise over run. Okay, I like that point. And I like that point. So we're going to rise over run. We're going to rise 1, 2, 3. And we're going to run 2. 3 over 2 does not reduce. 3 being bigger on top is okay. We'll keep it, 3 over 2. All right. Line S has a slope of 3 over 8. Line T is parallel to line S. What is the slope of line T? If you see that word, same slope. You do not have to do anything to it. Do not do anything to it or you're going to get the wrong answer. Okay, so if you know one slope is 3 over 8 and you know the other line that is parallel to it, then this line's slope is 3 over 8. So 3 over 8 and you're finished. Parallel slopes are amazing because you don't have to do anything with it. The equation of a line A is y equals 5 over 6x plus 5 over 2. Line B is parallel to line A. What is the slope of line B? Parallel. Same. On this one, it's just, hey, the slope is 3 over 8. Okay, the slope is 3 over 8. On this one, we have to remember which one is the slope. Is 5 over 6 the slope or is 5 over 2 the slope? 5 over 6 is the slope because 5 over 6 is the number that's with the x. So if the slope is 5 over 6 with this equation and b is parallel to this equation, then 5 over 6 is the slope of b. Line V passes through the points 4, 12, and 9, 4. Line W is parallel to line V. What is the slope of line W? If it's parallel, then it's going to be same. Same what? Same slope. I don't know what the slope is because they didn't give me the slope. They didn't give me a graph. They didn't give me an equation. They gave me 2 points. Unfortunately, we have to find the slope of V. I'm going to put that little v there, subscript V, to tell me that my slope of V is da 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 da. So x2 minus x1. y2 is 4 minus y1 is 12. x2 is 9 minus x1 is 4. 4 minus 12 is negative 8. 9 minus 4 is 5. 8 over 5 does not reduce. There's only one negative. So the slope of V is negative 8 over 5. The slope of W on W is the same, negative 8 over 5. Okay. For perpendicular, you have to do 2 things. You must do both. Opposite, reciprocal. Okay, you have to do both of them. So if they give you line A has a slope of negative 5 over 7, line B is perpendicular to A, what is the slope of B? Now, if it says negative 5 over 7, that is the same thing as negative 5 over 7. The whole thing is negative, not just the 5, but the whole fraction. So whenever I say opposite, if your original slope is negative, then your answer is going to be positive, okay? So opposite, reciprocal. Reciprocal means to flip the fraction. So if this is negative, our answer is going to be positive. If it's 5 over 7, our answer is going to be 7 over 5. Done. The equation of line M is y equals negative 7 over 8x plus 8. Line N is perpendicular to M. What is the slope of the line? So the slope of M is negative 7 over 8 because that's the number that's in front of the x. Line N is perpendicular. So the slope of line N is going to be the opposite reciprocal. If it's negative, it's going to be positive. If it's positive, it's going to be negative, and then we're going to flip it. It's negative, so our answer is going to be positive. It's 7 over 8, so our answer is 8 over 7. Line J passes through the points 10, 5, and 5, 1. Line K is perpendicular to J. What is the slope of line K? So the slope of J, y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. 1 minus 5 over 5 minus 10. Negative 4 over negative 5. That is not finished because both of them are still negative. You have to make it positive because both negative to begin with. So the slope of the first information is positive 4 over 5. Now that's not the answer because that wasn't the question. We just found the slope of J. It's looking for the slope of K. And K is perpendicular to J. So if J's slope is 4 over 5, notice I didn't say negative. So this one's positive, so our slope is going to be negative 5 over 4. Closure. How do you find the slope given the graph, rise over run? If you're given 2 points, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, it's whatever m is. How do you find parallel slope? Find the slope of the first equation and it's the same or equal. And the opposite, reciprocal, is perpendicular.